Welcome to the Jim and Jen Show, two radio folks, different parts of the country, just having fun, laughing at everyday life. And it's lots of Thanksgiving stuff today. I do have a pop quiz for you, though, Jen.
Oh, gosh, another one?
Yeah, I wrote it especially for you. So we have that coming up, and also why the supermoon from a couple weeks ago wasn't just a big old moon, because so many people went out and looked at it and went, well, that's a big old moon. My son's actually going to remember it as something completely wild.
Okay, that's interesting.
Completely wild. Which, let me just mention to you, since we just talked about it right now, why hold off on that, right?
Sure.
So the supermoon comes up, and it's big, and it's the biggest in 70 years. It's the biggest it's ever going to be.
It was big. It was bright. It did not take good photos.
No. You try to go out on your iPhone and take a picture, nothing, right?
Right, absolutely.
And if you're anything like my wife, Tracy, she's like, oh, it looks like a big moon, quite honestly, Jim. It didn't quite do anything for me. But
that's kind of why I thought.
Yeah, and most people. But to my son, it actually flipped, and I think he's going to remember this forever because he's in Webelos, and right now his den is getting ready to move over to Boy Scouts. So they're trying out different Boy Scout troops. And so this one invited us to go camping. It happened to be that weekend of the supermoon, and we went camping in this place called the Endangered Wolf Sanctuary, where they are.
That's cool.
Yeah, and they're bringing in all these wolves that are endangered, and they're trying to repopulate them. So they've got 30 or 40 wolves penned up in this. It's completely secluded in the middle of nowhere, away from civilization, forested, hilly area, and we're camping there. And you got this massive full moon, and it's the middle of the night. Everybody's in bed, and I get a little knock on the door, on my tent flap, because he's in another tent. He's like, Daddy, I got to go potty. I'm like, all right, that's cool. So I put my shoes on. We go out, and the moon is so bright. Everything is just this white light. It's lit up. You've got defined shadows. This moon's there, and all we hear are these wolves howling.
Oh my gosh, it's like straight out of a movie.
Yeah, all we needed was like mist rolling through, and we would have freaked out. But we didn't have the mist. But we've got this massive super moon. We've got this cold night. It was 29 degrees, and these wolves howling. And my son's like, this is cool, Dad.
Okay, you know what would have made that a little bit cooler?
What?
Is if off in the distance you saw the moon behind the outline of a wolf howling. Come on! It's like a movie written right there.
No, it only would have been better if all of a sudden you heard a scream in the distance. I will say, we were walking back from the Porta-John in this night that had the wolves howling and this bright moon, this super moon. And we walked past one of the tents of one of the adults from the other troop. And in that quiet, still of the night, we hear the loudest passing of gas you've ever heard.
Oh, God.
My son looks at me, and I look at him and goes, is that you? He goes, nope. He says, that was that tent there.
Yep, you could tell you were on a camping trip with a bunch of boys.
Yeah. Oh, that is just completely memorable. You know what else I think is going to be memorable? Because, we have Thanksgiving coming up this week. Mm-hmm. And you and I have been chatting about this. Why is it that the meal that we remember the most is the one that we spend the least on? Because Thanksgiving dinner's out, and the cost of it is like, what, $49?
It's like $49 and change, which is down. And that's supposedly to feed a family of 10.
Yeah, a family of 10.
I say supposedly, because I don't know whose Thanksgiving dinner cost less than $50.
Oh, ours does.
What? What do you have at Thanksgiving?
Turkey, stuffing, green bean casserole, mashed potatoes, rolls. I mean, the wine's probably the most expensive thing you have to get. But a turkey...
And desserts? What about? I mean, you got to throw dessert in there.
Pumpkin pie doesn't cost that much to put together. You could do it.
I don't know. I feel like just our turkey... turkey was expensive.
Let me say this. Okay, if you don't agree with the $50, that's fine. But
our turkey was $15.
Okay, so now you've got another, $35 to go. Well, let's just say, fine, $50, isn't it? $60, $70? What do you think?
I think easily $70.
Okay, $70. $70 to feed 10 people. Now, come on, still pretty inexpensive.
Yeah, I guess that's true. $70 to feed 10 people. You're right.
And answer me this then. Let me answer me this then. What's the last fancy place that you went to? An expensive dinner that you went out to? Who did you go with? What did you talk about? And what special do you remember from that dinner? And you're quiet.
Oh my gosh. Okay, hang on. Give me a second here to think.
All right, well, no, that's enough time. Now I want to flip this around. Last year, Thanksgiving, the cheapest dinner that, okay, you're paying $70 on, I can do it for $50 for 10 people. Last year's Thanksgiving dinner, you can name the same things. Who was there?
Yeah, absolutely. I had a full house. We had, obviously myself, my parents came in. I had 4 friends that didn't have anywhere to go. Mm-hmm. And that was it.
Yeah. Give me something special from that night that you remember special from that night where you had this cheap, inexpensive dinner.
We all sat around and we played Pie Face.
Yeah. I love that game.
It's a great game.
I love that game.
Still one of my favorites.
Right. And I'll bet if you think about that, you've got this sort of warm feel right now.
Of course.
Then that last expensive dinner that you can't even think about that you dropped $100 on for 2 people.
All right, now you're just making me feel bad about going out to dinner. Come on now.
There's nothing wrong with going out to dinner, but why is it that let's do something fancy on a date night. We go spend a lot of money. I couldn't tell you where my wife and I went on a date night last. I couldn't tell you because I don't remember it. Yeah, we went out and we found a babysitter, but Thanksgiving, now that's a different story.
Okay, but I think you remember your Thanksgiving meal because it's always the same. I think, so you can't say what you ate because it's always going to be the same, minus maybe one side that you change, right?
Well, what about the memories from the dinner? I could tell you, we talked about Tim and his new job. I remember doing that, and it's all going, what, you're working for Zillow online? How cool, And I remember the boys going out back and throwing beer bottles up in the air and trying to hit him with a football. I remember that.
What?
Yeah, it's kind of fun. Try it this year. Drink the beer
I'm
first.
going to have to. I've never heard of that one.
Drink the beer, throw the bottle up, and throw the football at it. But I remember that. But I couldn't tell you what Tracy and I talked about at that last expensive dinner.
Oh, well, that is just, you know what? That's really kind of sad, isn't it?
The meal we spend the least on, we remember the most. That's
a really good point. I never thought about that. Okay, so what are you going to do this Thanksgiving? Anything different, like what food-wise or anything family-wise?
We always go up to Detroit for Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. My wife's extended family's up there, so we go up there, and Uncle Rick makes the turkey, but also have a what's it called? A roast beef something right. Roast beef, which is just amazing. And they're Polish, so we always have Polish food. Mm-hmm. And we just kind of hang out, and it's always the Ohio State-Michigan game. So we
you have to do that.
Yep, and I have to watch Ohio State beat up on Michigan. It's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully that happens again this year. So that's our special thing we do.
Okay. So our special thing is we always get a new board game. I think this year we're going to get the LOLZ game. I don't know if they call it LOLs or whatever. Do you know what I'm talking about? You put the mouth guard in, and it stretches your mouth like when you're at the dentist. And it stretches out your cheeks, and you've got to
I can imagine. You've got to say
people have to guess what this phrase is. So that's our party game this year.
I love that game.
Go find it. But also we're doing a new dessert this year, Jim.
What is it?
It's called the pie cakein.
What's the pie cakein?
I got your attention, didn't I, on this?
Is it a pie with bacon?
No, it's a cake, and inside of the cake is a pie.
It's like a turducken for dessert.
Yes. And now after I've been kind of thinking about the best combinations of it, I'm going to go with a raspberry pie inside of a dark chocolate cake with a dark chocolate ganache.
Ooh, that's fancy. Yeah. That sounds good. Right.
Doesn't that really sound good? Or
now, have you experimented with it yet?
No, because no. We have a pumpkin pie on backup.
So probably a good idea. So you're going to take an actual pie with the crust and everything, cook that, and then you're going to put it into a cake and pour a cake around it.
Yeah, but you need one of those springform cake pan.
Like you do for cheesecakes.
For the sides come off. Yeah. So but you cook your pie, you take it out of the metal container. Okay, so you've got to do that carefully. Lay it inside half the batter of the cake, and then you go ahead and pour the rest of the batter on top and stick it all in the oven.
You've been to Thanksgiving meals when you first started cooking Thanksgiving by yourself without your parents.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sure you never did it. I, of course, never did it. Forgot to take the giblet bag out of the turkey cavity. And, and you're cutting it at the table, and you're like, hey, what's this bag? Only happened once in my life.
Yeah, just once or twice I've had.
I can see this happening with the pie cakein. You make the whole thing and you forgot to take the pie out of the pie tin.
There you go.
And you cut it. Whoops.
I can totally see that happening. That would be me. Yeah, I have not experimented with this yet. We're gonna see what happens. I also thought of doing a like a salted caramel apple pie and putting it inside a pumpkin spice cake.
Nah, that sounds too complicated. Stay with the raspberry and the dark chocolate. That's
I know.
You had me at that.
I had you at that. So that's what we're gonna do this time: a pie cake-in.
All right. Well, here's just a word to the wise, Jen, because I'm concerned about you.
Okay.
If you don't want to boil to death, don't take a plunge into a random hot spring in Yellowstone National Park.
Because that was right there on my bucket list.
I don't know. After you have your pie cake, and you might decide to take a wander and work some of it off. No, this guy named Colin did this. It's sad. He's out in Yellowstone National Park, goes off the path, finds a hot spring, decides to take a dip into it, reaches in to see how hot it is, falls in. It's 212 degrees.
Oh my gosh.
And he boils, and then it's acidic as well, and his bones get eaten up by the acid.
Ouch! Oh my God! This is a horrible story. Why are you sharing this?
Wouldn't that be horrible? It helps in the digestion of your pie for Thanksgiving.
Oh that sounds straight out of like a Sopranos.
Yeah.
Like them offing somebody, dragging them up to this and throwing them in it. This is totally a Sopranos or Breaking Bad way to off somebody.
I am reading, I'm going back and reading some Tom Clancy books, which I love Tom Clancy. And so I grabbed one, and they offed someone in it. And they were in the Chesapeake Bay. This is the bad guys that offed them in the Chesapeake Bay. And there are a whole bunch of crabs there. So they dumped them in the shallow water, and the crabs finished it off.
Oh my gosh.
So then I heard about this guy falling in the hot spring. I'm like, oh, what another way that you can get rid of the body.
Like I said, it's like a Sopranos, a Breaking Bad, or a Dexter way to off someone. I mean, let's think about that.
You know, I always wondered about people who write books.
And it's a lot less messy.
Yes, it is a lot less messy. If you write books, you write screenplays, you got to sit around and go, okay, we need something creative. You know, how are we going to get rid of this person? You know, you're Walking Dead. How are we gonna kill the Walking Dead this time? Okay, let's think of a good way to do it. Oh, wait, we could dump them into a hot spring. Get that brain. Make sure it melts.
Is it me, or do you ever think about the people who write these, like specifically the Saw movies, because they always get rid of people in like these horrible ways, and then I start thinking to myself, how are these people able to imagine these ways of getting? Does that freak you out a bit? Like when you start thinking that people have actually thought this through?
It's like brainstorming. It's like, you know, you come up with one person has an idea, and then someone else throws down an idea, and it could work off that original idea. And if it does, you keep going, and it gets crazier and crazier and crazier. Like, okay, this is great, but let's add something else to it. It's just a brainstorming session.
Sure.
And then as the manager of the brainstorming session, you're like, all right, we've done a great 2 hours here. We've come up with 15 ways to off people or to dispose of the bodies. Let's go out, have a beer. Let's go home to our kids and love them.
I don't know if that's the type of job I want. Hey. Yeah, no. I'm thinking, come on, you've got to have a little bit of a demented mind to come up with this stuff.
Hey, Daddy, what'd you do at work today? As you're hugging your son.
Well, son, I figured out how to load 3 barrels of acid and take somebody in it.
Cool, Dad. You're the best dad in the whole world. And he goes to school the next day. Hey, my dad's really cool. You know why? He figured out how to get rid of 10 bodies. Next thing you know,
I shouldn't laugh at that. That's so disturbing.
You get a call from the school counselor. Your son's been suspended. And they're like, oh, we're really worried about your son right now. And no, listen, he's just, watch TV next season and you'll see what he's talking about.
Okay, as we're having this conversation, I just thought, what if somebody had to, you know how like you have those shark cages now and the great whites? And you go on like these dive things, right? Which I've always wanted to do. But I was thinking, okay, why don't somebody just say, oh, we're going to act like this dive company, and instead we're going to off somebody by like cutting off an arm and putting them in an open shark tank, and then there you go.
Okay, now you're just demented.
Now I'm the demented one?
I can't believe you even thought that. You are evil and demented.
What?
You are a bad, bad person.
Come on now. You know you've thought of some of this.
You have become what you were just saying. How horrible that is.
Jim, don't make me feel worse. I know I just realized that.
Now go home and hug your kid. Hey, what was that? You were telling me about some game, a new app, and it's a game. And you're talking about how on Thanksgiving you guys like to play new games. And
yes.
This could be one, and I think this is so unique.
Yes, it's called Quick Draw. So you pull it up on your phone.
And you figure out how to off someone.
You draw within 20 seconds a picture of a word or a phrase, and then the app will guess what it is based off of that.
Really?
Yes.
What happens if it can't? What does that say about you?
Well, I guess it says you're a really bad drawer. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like playing charade. Well, no, charades is where you act it out. But what's that drawing game? Pictionary. Remember Pictionary back in the day? Yeah, it's kind of like Pictionary on your cell phone. And supposedly this computer is supposed to be smart enough to start guessing. And so really what it is after it recognizes some of what you draw, it should be able to quicker and faster recognize what you drew.
The sad thing is with Pictionary, it means you have friends.
I know.
With Quick
and
Draw,
when you play by yourself,
no friends. It's just one more way we can isolate ourselves from the rest of the world. I don't want to know anybody.
I know.
I'm going to play Pictionary and charades by myself.
But truth be told, we all know that we're going to get on our phone at work or at lunch and be like, hey, check this out. And at Thanksgiving dinner, what are you doing as political conversations are going on? Nothing. Nope. Just drawing.
Just drawing.
Speaking of political conversations, Jim, and Thanksgiving. So my best friend is hosting Thanksgiving dinner the first time. She has, I think, should she say 26 or 28 people coming. So it's a whole heck of a lot of people coming.
For her first Thanksgiving, she's going to do that many people?
Yeah.
She's crazy.
Yes. Well, yeah, I explained that to her as well. So half of her family, they're all very political and half is divided. Half upset about the election, the other half very happy with the election results. Mm-hmm. She's trying to make her house and her dinner table a political-free zone.
How's she going to do that? And good luck with that, by the way.
I know. That's what I was thinking. How is she going to do this? I thought she could set up some cards and table cards that say, no politics here, please pass the wine. Or I'm not here for the politics, please pass the mashed potatoes. She suggested maybe a Nerf gun. Yeah. Popping anybody who starts at it. I don't know. What would you think? What's a good way to keep politics out of this Thanksgiving?
So she would sit at the head of the table with a gun and just let it be known. Anyone talks, I'm shooting you.
Yeah.
You're done for. You can have them sign a big, legal document when they walk in that says, I will not talk or I will be shot.
I told her to make some money off of this.
How? Like if they talk, they owe 50 cents?
Yeah. You talk about politics, $5.
And you could get enough money, it would pay for your whole Thanksgiving dinner.
That's what I'm thinking. Or if they're like my family, nobody wants to do the dishes. You talk politics, you do the dishes.
Oh, I love that. See, now that's a cool way.
There you go.
That's a very cool way to do that. There was a pilot just last week. He kicked 2 people off of his plane before it took off because they started arguing about the elections.
I heard that, and I love it.
They got in a big fight, ejected those people, and then he says, okay, listen, this is going to be a political-free flight, just like your Thanksgiving meal, right?
Yeah.
No one talks about elections. We've got 3 hours to fly from San Francisco down to Puerto Vallarta. It's going to be fun down there. You guys can hold off for 3 hours. If you want to talk politics, there's a plane tomorrow, and you can take that.
And I think everybody should be happy with that pilot. I feel like every place right now should be a political talk-free zone. Just give us a week off.
So what do you think about the elections?
Jim, looks like you're going to be doing dishes if you're visiting me for Thanksgiving.
All right, so right after Thanksgiving, it's going to be Christmas. What gets you in the Christmas spirit, Jen? There's got to be something when you hear it or see it or smell it or do it, you're like, okay, I'm now in the Christmas spirit. For example, everyone hates it when the radio station switched to all Christmas, and you and I being radio people looking for jobs,
right?
Isn't that kind of nice to be able to talk about other radio stations?
I know, it is. It's actually really nice right now.
Yeah, a little inside radio of something that you can't talk about other people's radio stations. They don't exist, right?
Right.
But since we are, I listen to 2 different ones that have Christmas music on it. I'm
like, already, huh?
Yeah, I could tell you the 2 here in St. Louis that switched over, and it was a couple weeks ago. It was like the first week in November, I think.
Okay.
And my son told me this, and I was like, oh, really? We got both of them, 103.1 and 102, whatever it is, 3 that have switched over. Great. I'm like, not ready for it. But then he's like, I like Christmas music, Dad, and he turned it on. It didn't take 2 songs before I was hooked.
Really?
Oh, that's all I listen to now. I get in the car, and I turn on Christmas music. My son gets in the car, and he's like, Dad, turn on 103.3. I want to hear some Christmas songs. And we drive along singing Christmas songs 2 weeks before Thanksgiving. Love it. Ready for it.
Come on now. Really?
Yes.
Aren't you going to be like, we're done with Christmas music now the week after Thanksgiving?
No, I'm into it. I am ready. I even told my wife, I said, listen, honey, we're going to Detroit for Thanksgiving. And so we've got that whole week that we're not really going to be here to do any decorating or pulling things out of the attic. If you want to start now decorating, go for it. Let's put the lights up on the outside of the house. Let's go figure out, put some garland around the inside of the house. Get your fake snow, put it out. Get your snowman. I'm like, let's go for it. I'm ready.
Not me. Not me. I am not ready until I do Black Friday shopping. That's what gets me in the mood.
So that's a single.
It does. No, here's the thing, though. It's always a thing with my friends. So on Thanksgiving Day, we go through, and like if my nephews are around, I'll go through with my nephews, and I have them circle the ads, and we talk about it. And then I get up early, and I eat a light breakfast, depending on how late Thanksgiving dinner went. And my girlfriends and I, we text each other what we need, and we break up our shopping. So two of us might hit up 3 stores, and we have not done the breakdown yet. But let's say we're hitting up Best Buy, Dillard's, and Macy's. Somebody else will hit up Walmart, Target, and whatever. And then we meet for brunch and to divvy up the money and the gifts.
So they're buying your stuff at Walmart and your friend's stuff at Walmart, and you're buying their stuff at wherever you are.
And then we go do a champagne brunch, and we divvy it up, and we laugh, and we relax, and then we all go to one person's house, and we have a wrap party, and we're done. And that's how I get into my Christmas.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so it's not about the shopping. It's about really the champagne brunch and being with girlfriends and wrapping gifts.
So why don't you just do this a lot easier and the week before just go online, order it all, and then just meet and have more champagne?
Yeah, no, there's still something about going out together and fighting the crowds. It's that whole
friendship bonding.
Yeah, friendship bonding thing. That's my Christmas way.
I was talking to my friend Megan about this, and for her, the thing that signifies as Christmas time is there's a Hershey Kiss commercial. Mm-hmm. Where the little Hershey Kisses are, they start playing
Yep.
"We Wish You a Merry Christmas." And they have like little bells, and
that came out November 1st this year,
right when they switched to Christmas music here, right?
November 1st.
And she says when she hears that, she is ready for Christmas. She's in the Christmas mood.
I can get that.
Yeah, and it gets stuck in your head, and you start singing it. So
it does get stuck in your head.
Little piece of trivia for you on that commercial.
Okay.
Longest running Hershey's commercial. It came out in 1989.
Really?
Yeah. So that's longer than a lot of people have been alive.
That's true.
That came out pretty soon after I graduated.
That is true, yeah. So, okay, I like that Christmas commercial, and I know a lot of people are torn on another Christmas commercial that I love.
Which one?
Every year I like the Kmart Christmas commercial with Joe Boxer and the guys. I think that's hysterical. It's always something different. It's guys in their Joe Boxer commercial, and they're Joe Boxers, and they're always doing something silly with them. And I just think that those commercials are hysterical.
It doesn't get me in the Christmas mood, but I know which ones you're talking about. But
I didn't say it got me in the Christmas mood.
Oh, okay. It just gets you in the mood.
Yeah. Well, maybe. I mean, mistletoe mood. It all kind of is still Christmas mood, right?
All right, here's something random for you. Random as anything. Have you seen The Skin Witch?
Okay, that just sounds...
The Skin Witch?
Bad.
It's a sandwich, 2 pieces of bread. In between, it's filled with fried skins of chickens.
Ew.
Fair Food 101 right there.
Like, you don't have anything else?
No chicken. They fried like the breast of a chicken and took that fried skin off and put it on a sandwich, and then got a couple more, so you got like 5 or 6 of them between the bread. Ooh, now that sounds yummy.
Oh, I don't know about that.
If they did that at the State Fair, I would be there, right behind the Krispy Kreme hamburger, which I love.
You actually had that?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that is one of the nicest pieces of food product. That's not a great description of it, right? But it's amazing. Oh, it's sweet, it's salty, it's melty, it's just a random thing for you there. The Skin Witch.
The Skin Witch. I've never heard of that.
Now you have.
I don't know if I would try that. Now, what would you prefer? The fried skin on like the Thanksgiving turkey, or the skin off a piece of fried chicken? I'm assuming that it's, fried chicken type skin.
Fried chicken, because that's just thicker, and the fry and it's crispier, I think. The deep fried turkeys, there's not enough, let's be honest, Okay.
There's
only so much on the turkey. And besides, that's going to show up probably with your sliced turkey.
Well, that's true. That is true. It's pretty hard to separate it out there.
You ready to do a little pop quiz?
Sure, let's do it.
Pop quiz time. Pop quiz, pop culture questions just for Jen. Here you go. Let me get my pen so I can mark down. I have a red pen here.
Oh, no.
Mark down which one.
Did I pass the last pop quiz?
I think you did pass
I think I did.
Yeah.
I think I did.
I'll decide if you pass it. Pop quiz, Jen. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them just opened, starring the former whiskey-swilling, loudmouth, drug-taking Colin Farrell. He doesn't do any of that anymore, thanks to what? Is it A, lots of yoga, or B, Nickelodeon binging with his kids?
Oh, my gosh. First of all, I thought that was a rumor that he stopped it. That's true?
Hey, he said it. I'm not doubting him.
I doubted that. I thought that was like a total rumor.
Jen is doubting it.
I did. I'm sorry. It just doesn't seem like it goes with the man.
Well, maybe lots of yoga or Nickelodeon binging is what helped him. Which do you think it is?
I'm going to say the yoga.
Yoga? I'll give you 5 points for that because you got it right. Congratulations.
Yay!
Right? Even though you didn't, I'm going to subtract 2 because you don't think he's telling the truth. So you only got 3 points.
I don't think he's telling the truth.
You got 3 points right there. All right, question 2. Mariah Carey, Nick Cannon's divorce settlement includes this provision. Their children are not allowed to do what?
Call somebody else mommy or daddy.
Yes! I'll give you 4 points for that, so you're at 7 points right now. Congratulations.
There you go.
We are doing the pop quiz questions for Jen here. You can buy a bicycle made of leather. It's a great Christmas present for only $3,000. This is offered on whose lifestyle website? Is it A, Angelina Jolie's Give More, Love More site, or Gwyneth Paltrow's Goop site?
It's her Goop site.
Yay! There you go. I'm going to give you plus 3 for that one because you obviously knew that one.
Yes.
You're now at 10 points. Adam Driver, this is question 4. Adam Driver just turned 33. Lots of people know him, didn't know him before The Force Awakens. What role did he play in that movie?
Jim,
Yes.
Force Awakens is Star Wars, right?
Possibly.
Yeah, I don't know anything.
All right.
Like, isn't Star Wars, didn't one day, like, they have, like, an Ewoks or something?
There were Ewoks. There were Ewoks at one point, a long time ago.
Okay,
in a
repeat
galaxy
the question.
far, far away.
Hang on. Ewoks is not the answer, correct? He wasn't an Ewok?
He was not an Ewok. Oh, Adam Driver.
Wait, was he the Jedi?
No,
is he one of the guys with the sword?
I'm subtracting 5. So you had 10 points, lost 5. You're now down to 5 points. According to BuzzFeed, and you do need to get 9 points to win this. According to BuzzFeed, what outperformed real news on Facebook during the last months of the election? Something outperformed real news on Facebook during the last months of the election. This is according to BuzzFeed. What was it?
Something outperformed real news, fake news.
There you go, and I'm going to give you plus 3 for that. Unfortunately, that only takes you to 8. You needed 9 to win.
Wait, how did I only get 8?
You should have gotten some other ones right ahead of that. The Electoral College has spoken, so you only have 8. You lose.
This sounds rigged. I demand a recount.
Jen, it's been awesome. We should do this again sometime.
Sounds good.
It is the Jim and Jen Show. Have a great one.